Have you ever carried the weight of guilt so heavy? It felt like chains around your soul, or held onto anger toward the world, until it poisoned your peace. The truth is, forgiveness is not about the past. It is the only key to unlocking your freedom in the present. We often believe forgiveness is a gift we give to others, but in reality, it begins with ourselves. Before you can look out at the world and release its faults, you must first look inward and embrace your own humanity. Mistakes, regrets, missteps, these are not signs that you have failed. They are proof that you are alive, learning and evolving. But when you punish yourself endlessly for what you could not change, you trap yourself in a cycle where no growth is possible. Forgiving yourself is not about forgetting what happened. It is about choosing not to let yesterday's shadows steal today's light. Think of life as a river. You cannot step in the same water twice. Yet many of us stand at the shore, replaying old scenes, drowning in what has already flowed downstream. We whisper, "I should have done better. I should have said this. I shouldn't have made that mistake." But here is the truth. No amount of regret will rewrite the past. The past is sealed. The only thing you can transform is the way you carry it. Forgiveness is letting the river flow and learning how to step forward without dragging yesterday's weight with you. When you forgive yourself, you are not excusing your actions. You are allowing your soul to breathe again. You are saying, "I am more than my mistakes. I am more than one moment of weakness. I am a being capable of renewal." This act of self-forgiveness is not weakness. It is the deepest strength you will ever know, because the person hardest to forgive is often yourself. And once you achieve that, you unlock a compassion that overflows into the world. But here comes the challenge. How do you forgive the world? How do you release resentment when life feels unfair, when people have wronged you, when betrayal and injustice have left scars? The answer lies in understanding that the world is not a perfect script designed to please you. It is a stage where every soul plays its part, sometimes in harmony, sometimes in discord. People act from their level of awareness, from their wounds, their fears, their ignorance. When someone hurts you, it is often because they are carrying pain. They do not know how to heal. Forgiveness toward the world does not mean agreeing with what was done. It means refusing to let bitterness rule your heart. Imagine walking through life with clenched fists, holding tightly to every wrong done against you. How far can you go before exhaustion breaks you? Now imagine opening those hands, letting go, and walking free. Forgiveness is not about them. It is about you. It is about reclaiming your peace, about refusing to let anger dictate your destiny. You are not forgiving because they deserve it. You are forgiving because you deserve peace. Here's something most people never realize. Unforgiveness is a form of self-punishment. Every time you replay the betrayal, every time you dwell on how unfair life has been, you relive the wound. The event may have happened once, but unforgiveness makes you suffer it 1,000 times. Forgiveness, then, is not a favor you do for others. It is the medicine you take for your own soul. So how do you begin this journey? Start small. When guilt rises within you, pause and remind yourself, "I did the best I could with the awareness I had at that time." This simple truth is powerful because it honors your humanity. If you knew better, you would have done better. And now, because you know better, you will do better. Forgiveness of self is not erasing the lesson. It is carrying the lesson forward without the shame. And when it comes to the world, practice seeing the pain beneath the actions of others. Ask yourself, what wound caused this person to act this way? When you view others not as villains, but as broken souls stumbling through life like you, compassion replaces resentment. That does not mean you accept injustice or allow people to walk over you. Forgiveness does not remove boundaries. It simply removes the poison from your heart. You can stand tall, set limits, and protect yourself, all while refusing to be chained to hatred. Remember this. Forgiveness is not instant. It is not a single act. It is a practice. Some days the anger will return. Some nights guilt will whisper in your ear. But each time you choose forgiveness again, you are building freedom like a muscle. Over time, what once felt impossible becomes natural. Life is too short to be lived as a prisoner of resentment. If you spend your days clinging to anger, guilt, or bitterness, you will miss the beauty unfolding right now. The sunrise, the laughter of a friend, the chance to create something new, all of it fades when your mind is trapped in unforgiveness. Free yourself and you free your future. There is also a hidden beauty in forgiveness. It transforms your perspective. When you forgive yourself, you begin to see the world not as a battlefield, but as a classroom. Every mistake, every betrayal, every hardship becomes a lesson. Life ceases to be something that happens to you and becomes something that happens for you. Forgiveness turns pain into wisdom, loss into strength, wounds into openings for love. Think of the strongest people you admire, the ones who radiate peace, calm, and wisdom. Do you think they never experienced betrayal, pain, or regret? Of course they did. Their strength does not come from avoiding hardship, but from forgiving and rising above it. Their calm is not the absence of storms, but the mastery of peace within the storm. And that mastery comes from one choice: forgiveness. So today, I invite you to do something courageous. Write down the moments where you've been hardest on yourself. Write down the faces of those who wronged you. Then, one by one, declare, I release you. I release me. I choose peace. You may not feel it instantly, but over time those words will sink deep into your soul and lighten your spirit. Do not wait for apologies. Do not wait for the perfect moment. Forgiveness is not about waiting. It is about deciding. The world may never say sorry. You may never undo the past, but you hold the power to forgive anyway. That is your freedom. That is your strength. And finally, understand this: forgiveness is love in its purest form. It is not weak. It is the highest form of strength. To forgive yourself is to honor your journey. To forgive the world is to rise above it. And when you do both, you step into a life where nothing can chain your spirit. You become unstoppable, unshakable, free. So let today be the day you put down the chains. Forgive yourself. Forgive the world. Not because it's easy, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. And when you choose peace, you do more than heal yourself. You light the path for others to heal too. When you look inward, the first truth you must face is that forgiveness always starts with you. Carrying guilt, shame, or regret does not fix the past. It only robs you of your present joy. Many people believe they must fix the world before finding peace, but the real journey begins in the quiet space of the soul. When you forgive yourself, you unlock the power to see life differently. You release the heaviness that clouds your mind. You stop replaying moments that no longer exist. Forgiveness becomes the door to clarity. Without it, you are trapped in endless self-criticism. With it, you rise into compassion and understanding. The freedom you crave will never come from blaming others or punishing yourself. It comes from choosing release. Only then can you truly look outward with love. Mistakes are part of being human, yet many treat them like permanent scars. Self-forgiveness does not mean pretending you never fell short. It means you refuse to live as a prisoner to your past actions. Growth is impossible without error, and wisdom is impossible without reflection. By forgiving yourself, you honor the lesson without the burden. You begin to realize that every step, even the wrong ones, led you to greater awareness. This shift in perspective transforms failure into fuel for strength. Instead of hating who you were, you embrace who you are becoming. You accept that imperfection is the pathway to growth. You stop apologizing to yourself endlessly and start living boldly again. This is the true essence of forgiving the self. The past will never change, no matter how often you revisit it. Yet so many people try to rewrite it with endless what-ifs and if-onlys. This is like chasing shadows. You will never catch them, and in the pursuit, you lose your present. Forgiveness is not about making the past disappear. It is about changing the story you tell yourself about it. You stop saying, I ruined everything, and start saying, I learned something powerful. You let go of the idea that you should have known more when you could not. Life unfolds in lessons, not in perfection. Each time you release the hold of the past, you reclaim more of your energy. This is how you step into the now with power. It is not forgetting, it is transforming pain into peace. When others wrong you, forgiveness feels almost impossible. because the hurt runs deep. Yet forgiveness does not mean you accept or excuse what was done. It means you refuse to let bitterness control your life. Anger may feel strong at first, but over time it poisons your spirit. True strength is the ability to release without approval or apology. When you forgive others, you reclaim your energy from the grip of resentment. You stop living in reaction to their actions. You choose freedom over vengeance. And in that choice, you rise above the very pain that once held you captive. Forgiveness is not about justice. It is about liberation. Every action in life comes from a root of awareness or ignorance. When someone causes pain, often it is because they themselves are hurting. This understanding changes everything. You stop seeing people only as offenders and begin to see them as wounded souls. Compassion begins where judgment ends. You realize that behind cruelty, there is confusion. Behind betrayal, there is fear. Behind anger, there is deep suffering. This doesn't make their behavior right, but it allows you to release the grip of hatred. Forgiveness flows easier when you recognize the brokenness in others. You learn that people act out of their own limited vision. By seeing their wounds, you heal your own. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to feel the pain. Each time you hold on to anger, you relive the same wound again and again. The event may have ended, but your mind repeats it, multiplying your suffering. This is the cruel cycle of resentment. Forgiveness breaks that pattern. It allows you to say, this pain happened once, I will not let it control me forever. The freedom you gain is priceless. Suddenly you have space in your heart for peace, love, and new experiences. You are no longer tied to what cannot be undone. Forgiveness ends the loop of self-punishment and begins the journey of healing. Forgiveness is not a single act you check off. It is a practice you return to every day. Some mornings the old wounds will resurface, and you will feel the sting again. But each time you choose forgiveness, you strengthen your spirit. Think of it like building muscle. The more you practice, the stronger your capacity becomes. At first, forgiveness may feel unnatural or forced, but persistence makes it easier. Slowly, you begin to notice that the anger no longer controls you. The shame no longer dictates your choices. Over time, forgiveness becomes your natural response, and with it, peace becomes your constant companion. This is how freedom grows, one choice at a time. Life becomes lighter when you see it as a place of learning rather than punishment. Every hardship, betrayal, or regret transforms into a lesson once forgiveness enters the heart. You begin to view pain not as an enemy but as a teacher. You ask, what did this show me? What strength did it reveal? Forgiveness allows wisdom to bloom where bitterness once lived. Suddenly, the darkest chapters of your life become sources of light. You realize nothing was wasted, not even the suffering. Everything shaped you into someone stronger, more compassionate, more awake. Forgiveness rewrites the story from victimhood to empowerment. You rise above the pain and transform it into guidance. Many confuse forgiveness with weakness, believing it means letting people walk all over them. But true forgiveness is never about surrendering your dignity. It is about protecting your peace without holding hatred. You can set strong boundaries and still forgive. You can say no firmly while refusing to carry resentment. Forgiveness clears the poison from your heart, while boundaries guard your future. This balance is where true freedom lives. You are not soft. You are wise. You are not passive. You are powerful. By choosing forgiveness with boundaries, you demonstrate that peace and strength can coexist. This is maturity in its purest form. At the end of it all, forgiveness is not about them. It is about you. When you forgive yourself, you stop carrying shame. When you forgive the world, you stop carrying anger. Both acts are gifts you give to your soul. You do not forgive because others deserve it. You forgive because you deserve peace. This choice unlocks a freedom that nothing else can offer. You begin to move through life lighter, freer, unshakable. Your energy is no longer tied to the past. Forgiveness gives you back to yourself. And once you taste this freedom, you will never again trade it for bitterness. It is the greatest act of self-love you can choose.